And so if I get to drive an hour, hour and a half in a day for a meeting, that's awesome. Anyway, and so here's just another graphic. And so we've numbered each one of our CSOs, combined sewer overflows. We have 49 active CSOs right now. Several years ago, I think we had more like 70. So we're shutting them down pretty quickly. So we got started. Really, there were a lot of community members in Syracuse who were really excited about green infrastructure, underground storage of stormwater, and other things instead of building regional treatment facilities, which are expensive, which the O&M, operations and maintenance costs, never go down. They always go up. And we're looking at alternatives. And really used this report from the NRDC, Rooftops to Rivers in 2006, as an example of what we could do in Syracuse. They convinced the leadership that green infrastructure is a way to go, in part because we did end up building one of those regional treatment facilities. This one, the Midland Ave RTF, cost $120 million. That's the whole price tag of our green infrastructure program. One treatment plant. We needed to build 4 more to reach our goals. In a city the size of Syracuse, it wasn't financially sustainable, and it wasn't socially and culturally sustainable either. Nobody wants to go to high school across the street from a sewage treatment plant. Nobody wants to go to our one thriving business night district next to a sewage treatment plant. And this is where they had designed to put in a couple of these places, plants. The community was also not interested any longer in living across the street from 12-foot wide trenches where we were building conveyance pipes and having all of these big things set in front of their house for months on end while we spent millions of their dollars, putting in conveyance to treatment facilities such as this one, which essentially chlorinates the water, removes the floatables, chlorinates the water, dechlorinates the water, and dumps it right back into the creek. So it's not necessarily, it's patching the problem, it's not really making it any healthier for any kind of living thing in this creek, which travels the whole way through our city. Just a couple pictures of, this is a disturbance in anybody's neighborhood. And in a Rust Belt community, a post-industrial community, whatever you want to call Syracuse, which is probably not dissimilar from Trenton, Camden, Newark, or any other city in New Jersey, do we need to give people another reason to leave the city? And so building 5 sewage treatment plants and doing this across the street might be the straw that broke the camel's back for some folks. Having overflows and sewer separations, which are expensive, ugly, and public health issues, more reasons to consider an alternative. Having an upset constituency, leaving toilet paper in your trees in your front yard and leaving toilets in your front yard, and walking down Main Street, another reason to think maybe something should change. And so finally, we had a new county executive, Joni Mahoney, someone who was from the city and sat on city council for quite some time before she became county executive, decided she had 4 days to enter into contract to build those other 4 treatment plants. And she decided against it. She decided, let's do green infrastructure instead. Let's get green infrastructure into our consent judgment, and let's move forward on this quickly. And we have, and that was 2008. So some highlights. I'll go through very quickly. We've captured 100 million gallons so far. We're monitoring so that we can demonstrate that we're actually doing that. We're using the EPA SWIM model to kind of model how much we're capturing. We're also ground truthing that through the partnership with us at Syracuse University. We built 100 projects in 2.5 years, and they're pretty big projects, and I'll show you a few now. We have to capture a total of 250 really now, the number keeps changing a little bit, 250 million gallons of stormwater a year by 2018. We have to do public education and outreach, and we have to do monitoring and reporting as part of our agreement with the federal court. We also have milestones here to reach, and we're on target to reach this one by the end of this year, which is essentially now. That 250 million gallons, though, is only 6% of our total CSO volume. It's astounding how much water comes out of our buildings and off of our landscape. This is kind of how we project we're going to get to that capture every year. 35 million gallons this year, 36, 37, and then kind of hitting toward the end of the 22, building projects that will manage that amount of water every year. We're mapping this. You can find this on our website, savetherain.us, and you can click on any one of those balloons and find more information about the project that is there. But this just shows you the density of the projects we have in the city. There's several things we're doing, no matter who you are, if you're a resident, a business owner, someone who works for a nonprofit, another governmental entity in town, there's a way for you to get involved in Save the Rain. We're doing planting 8,500 street trees by 2018. We walk around and knock door to door in residential areas. Would you like a free tree? We'll plant it for you in the right of way, and you even get to pick the species. Only 25% of people actually say yes to that. But so we do offer it. Trees drink water. In unimproved streets with no curbs, that really provides a benefit. In improved streets that do have curbs, we're starting to put in curb cuts to allow that water into the right of way so the trees soak it up. The Green Improvement Fund has been super popular, and we've never even advertised it. Since March of 2010, we've offered money, reimbursement money, to businesses and nonprofits. You have a broken up parking lot, you have a leaky roof, you want to put some street trees in or redo your sidewalk, we will help you pay for that improvement if you do it in a way that manages all the stormwater. So we've got 120 applications. 36 of those projects have been funded, completed. 54 are going in the ground in early 2014, or contracted for construction in 2013, and the remainder will be going in 2014. So that's a huge number of projects and a huge public investment in the private sector. And it really beautifies the community when some of these businesses have all of a sudden nice new parking lots without potholes, or they put green roofs on their buildings, or they plant trees or put in bioswales and rain gardens. For a community, again, that's post-industrial decay, this is really revitalizing it in more ways than just for stormwater management. The aesthetic value alone is pretty powerful. So here's a couple of pictures of some of those things. Parking lots that's been redone. This is porous concrete in the middle. This is traditional asphalt on either side. And we've essentially just shimmed the traditional asphalt so the water will sheet flow into that porous area. We don't need to do the whole parking lot in porous. Porous is more expensive, and it's unnecessary to do the whole parking lot in porous to manage just that parking lot. You can do strips and get the same bang for your buck. There's a green roof on this wall, or this architecture firm, and those are also solar panels. They paid for that themselves. Another green roof on this building, and then they did porous pavers, which are very expensive. But they paid the difference in that cost, porous pavers in their parking lot and driveway in this LEED Platinum Hotel in Syracuse. So these are some examples of the Green Improvement Program. We have a diversity of unique projects in Save the Rain. It's not just doing parking lots and a few green roofs here and some rain gardens and bioswales. We've done some pretty cool stuff, and I'm going to go through some of them now. Jim Boeheim, who's the basketball coach for Syracuse University. If you live in Syracuse, the Syracuse area, you're required to know that. So I'm sharing that with you. He has the Boeheim Foundation, where he builds courts. It's called the Courts for Kids program, where he builds basketball courts for inner city children. So we've convinced him, and it didn't take much convincing, to build 4 of those in the city of Syracuse. And if he paid for the cost of a traditional basketball court, we would pay the difference if we could use porous pavement, so we could manage the stormwater of those basketball courts. Cool anecdotal information, because of the void space here, the neighbors say that the bounce is less noisy, maybe because the void space distributes the noise a little bit more, so the neighbors are happier. And the kids and the parents are happier too, because after it rains, there's no more puddles to bounce in. They can go right out and play. And also in a city like Syracuse, where we're struggling to reinvest in our parks, having some new park infrastructure is certainly nice. The connective corridor is great. So this is a street right adjacent to Syracuse University that Syracuse University, the city of Syracuse, and Onondaga County Save the Rain program all jointly paid for the construction of. This green space is a bike lane, which is really cool because it's separate and distinct from the vehicle traffic lane. So bikes feel very protected.